Let's talk about something that quietly wrecks a trader's performance. It's invisible, it has nothing to do with your charts or your strategy, but it has absolutely everything to do with your focus. You know this feeling, right? You're scrolling, and there it is, that perfect screenshot. The comments are just flooding in, everyone's cheering them on. And in those few seconds after you saw it, something inside you just shifted. And it had nothing to do with your own strategy or your analysis or the market that's open right now and needs your full attention. Nope. Your process just got up and walked right out the door. And something much older and way more dangerous just took its seat at your desk. Okay, so that feeling, it has a name. And believe me, it has been costing you in ways that never, ever show up on a P&L report. Let's call it what it is and break it down. So back in 2018, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania did this really interesting study on social media and how it affects us psychologically. And what they found is the key to understanding this whole trap. So here's the clinical term for it: social comparison orientation. What they found was that even a little bit of exposure to other people's curated highlight reels, it led to measurable increases in feelings of loneliness and inadequacy. This isn't just a hunch, it's a powerful, documented psychological effect. And here's where it gets really intense for us. The world of trading on social media, it's basically this effect on steroids. It is the most concentrated dose of curated, look how great I am doing success you can find anywhere. I mean, think about it. Nobody is posting a screenshot of the account that's down 40%, right? No one's showing you the full week of losses or the rules they just broke. All you see is the win, the big green number, the perfect call. It is a highlight reel, and it is specifically designed to make you feel inadequate, even if it's disguised as inspiration. And this, right here, this is the most crucial point of all. The second you consume that content, you walk over to your terminal carrying this weight that was never supposed to be part of your process. Your entire objective has changed. You're no longer trying to execute your system. You are subconsciously trying to produce a result that's worthy of being posted. And those are two completely different goals. Now, this isn't some new 21st century problem. It's just taken on a new form. And to figure out how to fight it, we can actually look way back to the ancient Stoics. They understood this whole dynamic with, frankly, absolute clarity. The philosopher Epictetus used to tell his students this. Basically, he was saying, stop trying to look like you know everything. If people think you're a big deal, you should actually start to distrust yourself. What he was describing was a very precise mental discipline, a deliberate, conscious detachment from what other people think. And this just brilliantly illustrates the core Stoic insight. You see, they saw comparison as just a fundamental error, like you're playing the game wrong. The moment you measure yourself against someone else, you've abandoned your own race. You're now on their track with their rules running toward a finish line that was never, ever meant for you. The Stoics loved using the metaphor of a race in a stadium. And in that stadium, comparison just makes you ask all the wrong questions. You stop looking at your own lane and you start looking over at the guy next to you. And suddenly you're obsessed with all these external things that have nothing to do with your own performance. Your focus just drifts away from the only thing you can actually control, which is how you are running your race. This is the only question that truly matters. Not how do I stack up against someone else, but how well am I executing my own plan in my own lane? So, okay, let's bring this right back to trading. What is your race? Well, it's your system. It's your unique edge. It's built on your psychology, your capital, your risk tolerance, your schedule. The trader you're comparing yourself to, they are running a completely different race on completely different terrain. Their green screenshot tells you absolutely nothing about yours. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, we've looked at the philosophy, now let's get practical. Let's build an actionable toolkit. See, being vulnerable to comparison is really just a symptom of an ungrounded identity. So here's how we build that foundation. It really boils down to 3 core steps. First, you have to define your own metrics completely. Second, you need to curate your environment without apology. And third, you replace external benchmarks with longitudinal ones. Let's break that down. Let's start with metrics. And listen, we are not talking about profit here. We're talking about the stuff that only you can measure. Your process adherence rate, your rule compliance, the consistency of your execution. You see, when you start measuring what no one else can even see, comparison becomes structurally impossible. Then you curate your environment. Mute the accounts that trigger that comparison feeling. This isn't about being petty. It's the surgical, logical act of removing noise. And finally, you have to change your benchmark. The only, and I mean only, comparison that is worth making is between you today and the you from 90 days ago. Are you more disciplined, more consistent? That's what measures real development, and it's on terrain that is entirely your own. So, with that whole framework in mind, let's wrap this up with a direct challenge, a final thought to take with you from this whole explainer. Ask yourself this, and be honest. Whose performance have you been unconsciously measuring yourself against lately? And what did it really cost you? Not in money, but in your attention. In those sessions where your focus left your own system and instead went searching for a result that would just make you feel like you were keeping up. Name that cost. Once you've named it, you know what you have to do. You have to take control of your environment. Remove that noise that pulls you off course. Do it surgically and without feeling bad about it for 1 second. And get back to the only work, the only race that actually matters. Because at the end of the day, that is the only truth that is ever going to move you forward, your process, your development, your race. It's the only one you can possibly win. So run it.